What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at delayed c-betting from out of position. So after multi-way action, after the flop goes check, 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 and then the turn goes check again. So let's get started. Let's see how you guys do. So the first board I want to look at is going to be King 3-3 with a flush draw. All right, so how am I gonna do this? Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna do advanced portion of the screen. There, perfect. And then I'm gonna trim it down a little bit. Like this. Make it a little bit bigger. All right. Okay, so the flop is King 3-3 with a flush draw. The turn is D8. So button, small blind, big blind. So the first thing I think we should look at here is after it goes check, check, check on the flop, in general, the small blind on the turn, I think population is gonna lead very, very frequently when they have a hand like King Queen, for example. When they have a hand like King Jack, for example. Right? I think population is gonna lead a lot with like King X, and then leads when they have like a 3, and have like a kind of a strong hand, right? So if they had like a hand like pocket 8 here, I don't think they would check the turn again, you know? So I think this is a spot where we can have a pretty big exploit because population is definitely not checking as much as GTO. Right? So whenever our small blind is gonna be checking, I think we have a great exploit to run. But already, if we just look at GTO, okay, right off the bat, what would you guys do here from the big blind with a hand like 8-6 offsuit?
Sorry, 8-6 or ace-6?
8-6.
I would check.
You would check.
I would also check.
Okay. What would you guys do here with a hand like we make this a little bit smaller. Challenging. Right, like this. And becomes this. Okay, so you guys see the board, right? Do you guys, what would you guys do here with 10-7 off from the big blind?
Check.
Like we just saw, a small blind checks all the kings. So why do we take zero equity bluffs?
Why do you
We will
think?
take some, but not many.
Well, it's very simple. Once player in position checks back the flop, it becomes extremely capped, right? So like the button is almost never checking like two pair, almost never checking sets, almost never checking like the best top pairs. Almost never checking when he has like a really, really strong hand. So the guy in position is extremely capped. And then the small blind is also extremely capped because small blind is in the sandwich, right? He's between the guy in position and the big blind. So the betting responsibility literally falls on the big blind on this spot. As I said earlier, I believe that population is going to be leading a lot from the small. So we have a good spot that is proposed by GTO, right? Where we can bluff a lot, and I think it's exponential given the population tendency. Like I think we're gonna gain even more EV because like no one is really checking as much as they should from the small. So actually, let's look at the strategy. So I'm gonna put it back. So after it goes check, 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 turn 8, small blind, checks very heavy again, and this is the big blind strategy. So I asked you guys about 8-6, 8-7. There's a lot of leading here with those hands. There's a lot of like, kind of like, if you look at like those deuces, right? There's a lot of like betting with kind of low equity hands, right? Like queen 7 off, for example, with the queen of spades, right? So you end up bluffing a lot. And I think like given like population is gonna be like very, very capped, I think we can do even more than this and get away with it. So now the question is, how do we approach this? What's a good way to kind of train this scenario? So what I thought was I have my board list and we can go like one by one, basically. And then run a couple of boards and then see the big blind leading strategy, right? Like a little bit of queen 6 here. So those are going to be a lot of spades, right? But a hand like 5-4 off here, you know? Like zero equity bluff, just leading the turn into 2 players, right? And then also like notice like the size as well. It's going polar with all the trees, right? And then going polar with a bunch of bluffs as well. So yeah. All right. So let's just move on to the next board. How do we do that? Refresh. Okay, MTT, 40 big blinds, button, small blind, big blind. We're gonna look at a board like 7, 7, 6. Ooh, there's gonna be a lot of leading from the small blind, from the big blind, from the flop. I don't think people really do that, right? Leading small, multi-way on those paired 7-7-6. I think that's a really, really effective strategy. Anyhow, if you decide not to lead, right? In position here is betting so much, right? He's betting like most of the time. And then plenty of zero equity bluffs from in position, multi-way. And then like if you look at a hand like queen 9 off, like you got 2 overs, you got maybe a chance for a straight, you know. lots of maybes, right? But you're still like betting almost every time with queen nine, no spade, right? And not sure if that's really happening from in position. Like on those low pair boards, I think like in position, expect to get check raised a ton from the big blind. But we're honest here, like people are over check raising those pair boards right now from the big blind, right? So that's that. So if in position it's checking, because we look here, like he is checking some sevens, right? Like pocket seven. But overall, if you see like all of his sevens are almost always betting. So when he checks back, he in position almost never has a seven, right? He almost doesn't even have a six here. So like he like in position becomes so capped after it checks like this. So what's a good turn to look at? Say the eight of clubs. Okay, so on the eight of clubs, again, small blind is checking every seven, right? So small blind is supposed to be checking again, which is not a thing. Like people don't do that. Uh, they think like in position is cap, big blind is probably very cap as well. Well, maybe, on a paired seven, big small blind is gonna check a little bit more, but I don't think he's gonna check sevens, right? He's not gonna check value twice. Uh, I'm a victim of that. Whenever it goes check, 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 and I'm on the small blind, I'm gonna lead way too much on the turn. So the spot where I thought it was very interesting to look at. Now let's see the big blind leading strategy after it goes check, 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 and then we get kind of a favorable turn, right? So if we get a favorable turn, uh, but honestly, we don't even need a good turn. After he goes check, 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 like the big blind is just taking such a wild stance with hands like, I don't know, like five deuce here of hearts or diamond. Um, ace deuce. Okay, well, at least the spades. Hand like okay, so those have redraws, right? So they're not that crazy. But if you look at, I don't know, Jack 10 off here, right? Just leading, got shot, two overs. Seems a little bit ambitious for a multi-way strategy, right? Leading with King 10 off, King 10 suited, King 10 off. Um, so a lot of leading. And then I imagine that if there's even more leads here, our strategy is gonna explode. So let's see another board. Um, back, go back, go back, reset. How do we go back easily? Anyone know? Reset? Hit the reset? Okay, the board. All right, another board. Let's see. Ace of spade, three of spade, deuce of diamonds. All right. So on this texture, small blind is actually supposed to lead a lot. So leading with hands like queen ten off with the ten of spades, leading with hands like jack ten off with a spade, queen jack off, spade, leading with a few aces, leading with a little pocket six sometimes, little pocket seven, pocket fives. So if it goes check, check, then in position is betting quite frequently, and then like betting most aces. There will be a few aces like left in the checking range, but overall, like not too many straights, right? In the buttons range, and not too many like sets, right? Not too many like two pairs, right? So the really strong hands and the most are just gone. So in position checks back, it's basically a party. So say a 10 comes on the turn. This is where I think we have a good spot to take. So on this turn, there's actually a lot less slow playing here from the small blind. So which means I don't think it's gonna be we're gonna have a ton of leads here. Maybe is it because of the nature of the turn? Or is it the board that is already pretty locked up? Like top pair isn't gonna change, a straight isn't gonna change, but flush could still complete. So yeah, we have a lot less leading here actually from the big line. So leading with hands like queen four, it's gotta be the spade, right? Gotta be the spade, so those are probably all spades. A little 5-3 offsuit here. A little 6-4 off with one spade, but you don't really need a spade. You can crank without a spade here, no problem. So you can crank with jack 10 off, right? With a spade in your hand. And then I guess we use those eye offsuit hands with a spade with the intention of like bluffing spade rivers. We don't use the jack of spade, but the 10 of spade here is used. There's so much like all the betting though seems to be equity driven here. That I don't see much zero equity bluffs. Like those have like a very strong redraw to the straight or top pair, straight, straight. Those are all like flush draws. So very little zero equity betting here. But let's see if like it's because of the turn or on the turn. What if it was like a 7? Do you guys think the small blind is he leading as often as he was on a 7? I just wish you guys didn't speak all at once. It's a little bit hectic right now. Okay, so the small blind is leading on a 7. Ha ha ha. But still, like, you see, like, population, I don't think check deuces here after he goes check, check, check. They're never gonna, like, check again with the So again, like as we see, I don't think small blind is ever gonna lead as often as this with the weird hands like 9-8 off and like 9-8 with like hearts, for example. But also, like he doesn't have the bluffs and he doesn't have the slow play. So if that's true, then still not leading so much. Leading with hands like Queen 8 offsuit with the Queen of Spades, right? 10-8 off. Leading with maybe a little 7. You get your 7, you lead it. How about that? Like, 7 here, you know? Okay, good enough for a small bet. King 7 of clubs here. There's a lot of kind of like out of line betting, right? So this is what? This is like a turn road, right? It's not really a delayed C bet. I think I said delayed C bet at the beginning. So it's more like a turn road type of spot for the big blind. All right, so very interesting. So on these low boards, let's see what happens if it's a 7 of spades. And then how does that affect the strategy for both blinds? 7 of spades instead of the heart. You guys think we still lead a lot from the small blind? I guess we do. It doesn't make sense. I don't think we will as often. It's probably gonna kill the lead. I don't know. Still plenty of leading from the small blind with hands like top pair, hands like a little bit of pocket 5 without the spade, a little bit of 8-7. You can lead your 7 too. Jack 8. What is Jack 8 of clubs doing? Jack 8 of diamonds. All right. I don't think people find that so interesting. A little bit of leading with queen jack off into 2 players with a spade in your hand, right?
Lou,
Yeah.
when it checks through the flop, I mean, why is the small blind not leading ace four to ace six?
Well, that's what I was saying. We need to have a lot of like we need to have a lot of checking from the small blind, and
Yeah.
population is not. It's my impression. I don't know if you guys have the same vibe as me, but my impression is that small blind is not bluffing enough, not slow playing enough.
Yeah.
So on a flush card, okay, so what ends up happening is we actually size up from the big blind on flush cards, right? So what's a king, like 10-4 here? 10-4 of clubs. It's actually going small.
Mhm.
8-4 of clubs, hearts, or diamonds. 8-4 is a really popular combo. 8x. What's the deal here with 8x and yeah? So the 5, it makes sense, right? Because you have, okay, so I get it. I guess it's the 5 and the 4 that can make a straight on the river. Looks like all the 5s, all the 4s are very active. Especially the ones, those, they all have overcards to like a 7 or a 3, right? So if your opponent has a 7, you can cooler him with like a jack 5 off when either like the spade comes or a jack comes on the river. So straight card, overcard with those kind of like some people like to say extra equity, some people like to say backup equity. An ongoing fight for a long time now. Yeah, a lot of leading. King 8 off, king and spade, king 6 off, king and spade. Oh, Very interesting spot. All right, let's see. Go back, go back, go back, reset. There should be a button. I go back to the beginning, no? Let's see a board like 8-4 deuce rainbow. Eight, 4 deuce rainbow. Check, check. So on 8-4 deuce, the button is actually betting a ton, right? With a little bit of like jack 5 of clubs there. Queen 3. Hands like king 6 off here, almost full frequency bet. So you guys are probably not betting enough from in position with like 0 equity hands there. Maybe you are. On a 5 turn, let's see what happens. So I think like very little to no leading at all from the small blind on those low kind of boards, right? So no lead, and then we're gonna have such a massive leading range from the big blind. Let's all right, so small blind, pure, almost pure checking, right? And then in reality, like, you guys think people are gonna pure check 5s to you? I don't know about that. You think they're gonna check their 8s here after it goes check, 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 and then they get bailed on the turn because it was not an overcard? I don't think so. I think most people are betting their 8. They're betting pocket deuce here. So small blind isn't slow playing as much as he should. Now, imagine that. Look at this range, and now remove all the value hands from your small blind. Okay, because he would have left them on the flop. So imagine, like in position is capped, small blind is capped because of population tendencies. You may get away with like range betting the turn small from the big blind, right? It may be a thing, who knows, right? But probably a very good exploit given like those dynamics, especially on a low turn, right? You want to bet with hands like Queen 7 here. Queen 7, Queen of spades, 7 of clubs. Huh. Okay, the 7 makes a straight, so okay, that makes sense. The 6 can make a straight. But Queen 9 though. Queen 9. Okay, so you're doing it a lot with the diamond, probably with the intention of bluffing diamond rivers again. Jack 7. Okay, 7. Jack 10. I mean, Jack 10 is just a pair, right? Gotta be a pair or a diamond. But Jack 10 of clubs here. So I think we can safely assume that even the big line isn't leading up enough here. But from my perspective, like I think we get into this spot very often from either in position or from the big line. I think it's gonna be mostly from the big line, so. Well, yeah, lead with your deuces here. 7 deuce can lead here. 5 deuce, 2 pair can lead. 6 deuce can lead. 3 deuce. Honestly, it's a very ambitious lead with a 3 deuce here. 10-4, so that's gotta be diamonds, right? So much leading. Okay, would we see as much leading if it was like a bad turn, like a, I don't know, like a jack? Do you guys think the small blind is leading a lot on a jack? I venture to say no. Very chaotic chat today. So can the big blind lead like on those nasty turns for him? So already on a jack turn after it goes check, check, check. Now the small blind is picking up the ball, right? But even then, like no one is gonna really check like that often with I think fours. I don't think the small blind is gonna lead here with his little 7-6 suited here if clubs. Maybe the spade, right? Maybe people find the spade, but the heart, I don't know. Like start to lead with your gut shot here, I don't know, right? They start like leading here queen 10 off without even a spade. Very interesting. So if he doesn't lead on bad turns, we're actually not leading so much, but still, right? Still plenty of kind of unintuitive leads, at least for me. Like I wouldn't think about leading too much 5-3 here. I wouldn't think about like leading much like 9-7, pure gut shot. 9-6? Okay, 9-6 doesn't lead. A king 5 off. It's gotta be spade, right? Yeah, king of spade. Ace. Alright. So not much leading. Let's see what happens like ace of diamonds. Alright. Reading the chat a little bit. No one. Potato. Oh my god. Okay, so ace on the turn. Ace on the turn, the small blind can lead with like a little bit of two pair. A little bit of top pair with extra equity. A little bit of top pair with backup equity. A little bit of 7-6 here. Clubs. Gotcha. Little pocket three here leading sometimes. Alright, so say the big blind, the small blind checks. Then the big blind is actually supposed to be very, very quiet on those type of. So not much leading here, but still, you know. So those must be all diamonds. 7-5 off. Oh, it's still the gut. Okay, so you can lead with your gut shot there.
It's a double gotcha, right?
Right. Very interesting. Now, let's see another board. Let's go with Queen 5 deuce rainbow. Queen 5 deuce rainbow. So, kind of a lot of leading from the small blind, right? So leading with pocket pairs, pocket threes, pocket six. Very high frequency lead with pocket six as well. Your fives are leading almost always. Plenty of top pairs leading, but it looks like it's not leading the best one. Like leading the worst one, kind of. Queen 8 more than Queen Jack. Queen 9 more than Queen 10. And then when it goes check, check, in position, it's supposed to be betting 60% of the time. Plenty of zero equity bluffs. Well, zero equity, like 10-7 here. So if it goes check, 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 and then we make roll up to like a 7, a rainbow 7. Are we gonna lead again from the small blind? From what we've seen, when we have the leading strategy on the flop, we have a leading strategy on the turn again from the small blind. Whether or not the turn is good or bad, it feels like we're kind of indifferent to the nature of the turn from the small blind. Right? It really has to do with flop texture. Like see, like here, like it's not a great turn for the small blind, but we're still leading, right? Still plenty of leading. And then I think like it's very natural for people to be betting like 2 pair here, right? So I don't think they check back often enough. So if they don't check back often enough, our range is lighting up even more than this. So we can consider betting here with a hand like 10-3. Clubs. Your sevens here, your weak sevens. So many hands are just like being like betting with like Jack 9, no Jack 8, you know. There's yeah, there's a lot. 9-6, 9-6 of clubs. Is there okay? So the 8, so that's a gut shot at least. That's a pair, still a gut shot. So okay. So one thing we can pick up, like when I go check, 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 can consider leading the turn with gut shot. I think that would be a pretty strong strategy. It's like one street as well, so it's kind of easy to apply in your game. So lead gut shots from the big line when it goes check, 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 and the turn is not so bad for us. Ooh, we'll say we go to a wait, reset. A king 9 deuce type of king 9 deuce. So the small blind should be leading quite a lot, right? Don't think they lead as often on the flop. So check, check. If it goes check, check, in position, you know, he's kind of polar here, right? Using the big size a lot, checking back half of the time. So if he checks back, very cap. So never a set of 9s when he check back, never deuces, maybe a little bit of king, but are people really gonna check back? I don't know, right? Never really a good top pair, right? Only the worst ones remain. So in position, checks back on a king 9 deuce board, very cap, very cap. And then like once in position checks, like the player out of position can no longer rely on in position to build a pot. He kind of has to build the pot himself, right? Oh, let's see. 10 turn. The small blind is leading. As I was saying, the out of position, once in position checks back, out of position that can no longer rely on in position to build the pot for him. So now you just have to start to bet like 2 pair. With your top, almost every top pair is betting here. Oh, interesting though. What is the queen six of club? Okay, so gut shots. Their gut shots are leading. Not leading very many a fives, right? Only the ones with the flush draw. You can lead your tens. Um, so I think this is a spot where I don't think we're gonna have a lot of leading from the small blind, but again, small blind is gonna lead like okay, so even on a bad turn, we still have a ton of leading. So your gut shots, your all the gut shots. Gut shot with a flush draw blocker, is that it? Queen six? Or even just a naked gut shot could be enough. Open ender here leading. Open ender, gut shot. And then if the small blind is checking, like if he's leading too much, we can even do more than that, right? So like the way I would approach this if I was to like try to expand my leading range here is I would use all the combos that are mixed and I would like add up some frequencies to the combos that I pick. I wouldn't start to like really pick like hand that never picks. I would like go full frequency on those first. So that's what I would do. Let's see the strategy on a very like a jack of spade, I think. Jack of spade should be pretty good from the small blind, right? So yeah, I think the small blind is gonna lead a lot on a jack of spade. Which leads us to we have a good opportunity because when the small blind doesn't lead, means he's also capped. We got in position cap, small blind cap, we're in the big blind, both ranges are capped. We can venture into those territories, right? So small blind is supposed to be leading quite a lot here. Well, a quarter of the time on a jack. And then he's supposed to be leading his best top pairs. Um, a lot of spade combos, is that it? No, even like naked gut shot, no spade, like 10-8. And then if he checks back, very cap. So again, have a ton of leading from the big. Right, let's see another board. Back to the flop. Let's go for, okay. King, queen, deuce. So leading with hearts, right? Okay. So your flush draws can lead from the small blind. Your weak top pairs can lead from the small blind, although like the worse your kicker gets, the less you do it. Open enders with the heart, ideally, but not necessarily. So check, check. In position on king, queen, deuce, very polar strategy. Betting big quite often, right? And then when he check, like he is pure betting king, queen, right? Pure betting king, deuce, right? So like pocket queens, pocket kings, a very frequent bet. So if in position is checking back here, he is extremely capped, right? Rarely has ever a top pair. rarely has a set, rarely has ever a two pair, right? And position ultra cap. Then first a five of hearts. What happens on a five of hearts? Oh, okay. We still got some people in the chat. I thought everyone was dead by now.
Not quite dead.
Not quite dead. Okay. Small blind on a five of hearts, leading a lot, quite a lot. Leading second pair, not even a heart. Queen 10 off here. Leading with a gut shot. 10-9 of clubs. So kind of a lot of leading and like a natural spot for population to be leading as well. Then if they don't lead, look at them. So this is what we should be doing. What is 10-7 here? I hope it's only hearts. Okay. Phew.
Mostly hearts.
Mostly hearts, right? And then pair, top pair. Those are what? Ace of hearts with a gut with like extra equity. Ace four with backup equity. And on it. All right. What if it was an offsuit? Would it be much different? Would the small blind lead more often? You think he would? Think flush card is not great for the small blind like leading range, although I don't think he minds it that much. So let's see. Even more leading, but also now what ends up happening is the small blind can polarize.
Yeah.
The
Now
small
he has
bet
to protect. He has to protect against the flush draw.
makes sense. Yeah. And then when small blind isn't lead, like see how many tops pairs are leading here. So if he's not leading, that means he's also super cap. And now we just go bananas from the big one. All right, a little bit of 10-7 here, 10 of hearts maybe. A little bit of 10-9, Jack-9. All right, a lot of leading here. Let's see. All right, let's take another board. Let's go for okay, let's go for ace of spades. Jack of heart, three of hearts. Okay, leading from the small blind on ace jack three. A lot of leading. You gotta lead with the queen five here, and by the look of it, it's not just hard. It's not hard, it's spade. You lead the spade. What an unintuitive lead here from the small blind in a multi-way pot, right? This little tool is pretty cool. Oh, by the way, we have an affiliate for it. If you want to, I think it's $25 off. So let me just show you guys real quick the link. Is it here? No, here. Yes. So this is our link for the discount, and then the affiliate link with the code poker coaching, basically. So I'm gonna put that in the chat. All right, back to business. So now, if the small blind is checking and the big blind is checking, in position 50-50, right? 50-50, but never checks back with ace jack, right? Never checks back with ace three, or almost never, right? Never checks back with pocket jack. Never checks back pocket threes. That's what I've been saying. Like in position, checks back. It's not all the strong hands that are gone, but most of it is. Most of it is gone, right? And then we see what? Say a 10 of diamond turn. You guys think the small blind is leading on the turn on a 10? Right, Dean says yes. I'd venture to say a lot of leading as well. We're gonna lead a bunch of aces, a bunch of hearts. What's gonna be a no equity bluff? Oh my goodness, a lot of leading. Look at that. Right? So this spot, I think, is a spot where population and GTO kind of aligns. And what I found is that the best exploits are always kind of backed by GTO one way or the other, right? So here we can see like there's no way the small blind is leading as a bluff that often, right? Also, there's no way that he is slow playing so much. So, and then look at those leads, like queen 10 off. Yeah.
We have an offsuit 10, so that's probably why. If it was a 9, I bet you we don't need as much.
Ah, maybe. Let's see.
Still
What else
lead,
do
I
we
imagine, but it's not like that's half the range there, I think, or more.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a double Broadway board, so I'm afraid even the 10 isn't a big factor here. Like, I feel like just because it's ace jack and then you have the flush draw, it's just like, we're gonna be able to lead enough, even on a 9. Look at this. Right? Leading with king 5. Okay, at least it's hearts, right?
Are we more polar on this one? Looks like we are, right? Is our board dark red?
Yeah.
Now there's double gutters.
Yeah, one of the things seems to be when the flush completes, we're small, and when we have to battle the flush, we're big.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
As a general heuristic.
Let's just make sure of that. Oh, is the dark red disappearing or no? Oh yes, Peter is right. Flush comes in, no more big size. And then let's be honest, who here is leading pocket deucer?
The deuce is loose. I know you are, Louis.
Gee, don't say it out loud.
Come on, don't you want action?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You guys are gonna see a hand. I made a little clip that probably is gonna release today. You're gonna see a hand where I got, oh, Soul Reap destroyed BVB, where I gave action and I received action. Okay, so the button here is supposed to be betting very, very frequently, right? In position. Queen six, I'm afraid there's queen six of clubs there. Okay, wait.
And the button has big bets.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them, but it does. That's surprising.
All right, let's see another board. So let's see. Oh, yes. So let's see a jack 8-7 with a flush draw. So jack 8-7, small blind is leading so frequently here with just a 7. 7 and a gut shot, and that's just enough.
And when the small blind has leads, I think the big blind almost always checks range.
So far, it's kind of been a thing as well, right?
Yeah, but if the small blind doesn't have leads, I don't know if the big blind still checks range.
So on this texture, so much betting, like for in position, right? 10-4 of clubs here. 9-5 of whatever it is. Front door, back door. So much going on. 6-4, so gotcha. Jack 8, always betting. Jack 7, always betting. Pocket 8, pocket 7, always betting. 8 jack, all the best jacks. There's no jacks checking. So if the button checks back, super cat. Let's see, break 5. Break 5. I think break
Brings up
5
six.
will bring a lot of leading from the small blind because it's jack 8, still the same kind of texture. So oh, and Arturas in the chat is pointing out that on 8-7-5, both players were leading. All right, so on 8-7-5, the small blind is supposed to be checking range, right? Then it's supposed to be checking with pocket fives, supposed to be checking with 8-7, supposed to be checking with jack 8, you know? I don't know if that's a thing. Feel like if they lead here, like if they don't lead, we can already take a huge toll on these two players, right? But if they lead, if they have a leading strategy and then they don't lead, it's this on steroids, right? We can do a lot more than just this. And then literally exploit our two players, right? So lead with a king 4 off here. King of hearts in your hand. Queen of hearts in your hand. But even the 4. Okay, gut shots. So gut shots, like he can almost not check a gut shot from the on the turn after it goes check, and then check, actually. Or 4 checks multi-way, don't check gut shots. Just bet it. Pretty big as well, like very polar strategy here. Queen 9 here. Betting so frequently. Right. What's a good turn to look at? The 10. 10 of hearts? Probably the worst turn, right? So small blind is gonna lead small a ton, right? On 10 of hearts. Okay, so not so much, almost no lead, right? And then on a 10 of heart, our sides go down, we can still bet wide frequency against like 2 cap range. Let's see, ace of diamonds. Right, so on ace of diamonds, small blind has a lot of leads. Well. If the small blind doesn't lead, big blind isn't leading. The ace is just like such a bad card. So the leading happens a lot like on cards that are not good for in position, right? Okay, let's see another board.
Change the ace to a 7. I'm curious what happens on a card that is typically good for like a big blind lead. Like if it's really good for the big blind, I wonder if we slow play and play check raises or not, or if we still get leads.
Okay, you mean like
Pair the
six?
7 or something. No, pair the 7.
Okay. 7.
I feel like if I check, the big blind will bet a lot, and then I can check raise my strong hands. So does big blind bet a lot?
Yeah.
It's not going crazy, but yeah.
50%, not bad.
Yeah. But I mean, it did 50% on the 10 too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have a check raise strategy?
From?
Small blind?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe if it's a card, I wonder if it's a thing like if you know the card is typically going to be good for the big blind, if we just want to start with the check always. I'm curious.
I don't think so, based on what we've seen before. If the board is bad from the start, like ace, 10, 5, and then the turn comes like a straight card or the board is pairing, the big blind is not leading so much.
On a 5?
Yeah.
They do have
No,
less
no, no,
stuff
I'm
multi-way.
sorry, I'm sorry. What I meant is the small blind is actually leading a ton on the turn.
Oh.
All right. Let's see another board. Let's see. King 10. Wait, 4. So here, a lot of leading from the small blind. I don't think we check, check, check.
So what's the small blind lead most on? Is it the 10 high flops? I feel like we did
No.
that a long time ago and figured that out.
Well, it's multi-way
Versus-
now, so it's very
Yeah.
different, but from what we've seen, it was double Broadway boards, followed by ace high boards.
So, but I remember looking at multi-way spots versus late position opens like cutoff and button. Small blind had a lot of leads on. I thought it was 10 high boards. Back when we were using DTO or whatever.
Okay. Well, we
Yeah,
still
I
use
think it was
DTO.
8s and 10s were the big one for them. 'Cause
What was
that's
it,
where-
Peter?
I think it was 8s and 10s because the three bets tend to have a lot of 8s or 10s in them. So in the single raise pot, they don't have their 8s and 10s because they three bet them. So
That's the suited ones.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
have
they don't have their
offsuit
suited
10s.
8s, their suited 10s.
Yeah, we
They
have all
don't-
the offsuit 10s. Well, a lot of them.
All right, so what kind of turn would be good to look at here? Let's put a brick, ultimate brick. So king 10, a flush draw. In my mind, this is the kind of texture that small blind wants to lead a ton of. Let's So what is this? A 30% lead. Not that crazy, but still plenty. And then don't think people are ever checking king 4 here. I don't even think they have it to begin with from the small blind, but
This tool can't adjust, isn't weighted, right? So we can't see how, like, it looks like everything's full weight, but not naturally, it's not. Oh, you can? Okay, cool.
yes, we can. It's just I feel like for this type of studying, it's a lot better. But yes, it is weighted, and then you can even like put it in big. So small blind is leading a lot on the deuce, and then if he doesn't, very cat, look at this. Look at all the deuces leading. 7 deuce, 6 deuce, 5 deuce, 5 deuce of clubs here. 4 deuce. Okay, so that's 2 pair, makes sense, but 3 deuce here feels like a very ambitious multi-way lead. Right? 3 deuce of spade, I get it, but 3 deuce of club, very ambitious. If somebody does that to me and I see a showdown, I'm gonna think this guy is way out of line. I'm gonna mark him, and then the guy's is actually gonna be close to GTO. So much leading here. This is a probe actually. Vocabulary, so much fun. So 8-7 off, 8-7 suited. I hope it's only spade. Oh my God, the diamonds. The diamonds. Get out of here, diamonds. Get out of here.
They're not really there.
They're not really there, huh? But
No,
7%, Scotty. You can't pure check. And
but
then
eight
and-
deuce is there.
and then again, Scotty, if the small blind isn't checking often enough with 2 pair, like if he's leading range, for example, with like he's leading his top pair pure and then he doesn't lead into you, you can do that even more often.
Mhm.
And then
Oh,
also
you-
like
Oh,
on
I bet the shitty deuces are mostly spades.
I would guess so as well, but
Not
unfortunately,
all of them. I mean, 3 deuce is all over that.
yeah, unfortunately, it's not as kind of in your comfort zone, right? The spade
Yeah.
isn't easy to find, but the gloves is
Mhm.
hey, little 7 deuce here, you know? Seven deuce of diamonds.
Three deuce.
Yeah.
Three deuce.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yep.
All right, now let's see. The spade comes in. It's gonna be the same, but small size. Or are we doing it more from the small blind? From the big blind?
Oh, that's interesting how much three deuce is a bluff because 10 isn't doing it. Your tens aren't betting, but your deuces are. Your fours aren't betting, but your deuces are.
So very little big betting here, but still a bit of betting. Hmm. Okay, so my impression here is the small blind is leading more often when the flush comes in, but a smaller size. Right? It wasn't leading 41% on a deuce of hearts. Right? So he actually is leading more often on a flush card. But if he doesn't, we're leading less now. All right. Let's see another texture. So let's put on, okay, 10, 9, 4 rainbow. 43% leading. Pocket 5. Open ender. Pair of 9 with backup equity. Open ender. Another pair of 9 with extra equity. Your 10s here. So check, check. In position, very capped. Never checks back with two pair. Never checks back with a set. Never checks back with his best top pairs. Not even top pair ever. Well, maybe. Aces, kings, queens, jacks, pure betting. So your button checks back, very cap. The 5 of hearts comes backdoor. On 10-9, I feel like since the small blinds range is so condensed and like compact around like queen jack, jack 10, king 8, I feel like any turn, even like low or high, is gonna be pretty good for the small blind. Although like we didn't lead the flop, right? So when we don't lead the flop, I think our range is very capped. See? So a lot of leading again on the turn. This turn is pretty good for us. So polar size, big bet with a little queen 5 here of diamonds, queen 5 of clubs here, little king 5 of the suit of your choice, a little bit of queen 6. At least those are hearts. The wheels, look at the wheels. Wheels are just like those got shot. So, say the small blind check. Now, against two very, very cap ranges, we actually do so much betting. Open ender, jack 8, queen 8 got shot, queen 9 a weak pair with an overcard. A little bit of king 5 here, then turn the 5 and then just like, okay, all the 10s are must bets for the small blind. Two pairs.
Hello guys, how's it going?
Welcome, Bogdan.
Welcome. You're a little bit late, Bogdan.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, don't
I
worry
just
about
arrived.
it. We're all glad you joined, Bogdan. All right,
Thank
we're
you.
on
What's
this.
the drill about?
Oh, we're not gonna repeat.
No. One short introduction, that was all. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Not happening. So let's pick another board. Uh, King 9-5. We did a similar one. Okay, let's look at ace, queen, three. So small blind is actually supposed to lead the time, right? Leading with king 4. Okay, so second pair. Those are hard. Okay, so this is second pair with extra equity, right? You can maybe make a backdoor straight. Pocket 4. Okay, so it's gotta be the spade. Top pairs are leading from the small. So mono board, we actually lead quite a lot. So small blind is checking and then in position, betting very frequently, betting every two pair, not every two pair, but mostly betting the top of his range and not. Let's see a three turn. So on the three pairs, small blind isn't leading very much. Big blind is leading it tough. So mono board, the three pairs, against two cap ranges, we're actually supposed to be leading quite a lot. All right, on this, my brain is fried. So thanks a lot for joining, everybody. And see you guys around. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment if you're watching this on YouTube. And then I think we're gonna do something else for the rest of the time, but it's gonna be more relaxed. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody.